ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਕੀ ਸੇ ਦਿਲ ਦਾ ਬਾਦਸ਼ਾਹ ਰੱਜ ਕੇ ਪਿਲਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਕੀ ਸੀ ਦਿਲ ਦਾ ਬਾਦਸ਼ਾਹ ਰੱਜ ਕੇ ਪਿਲਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ। न रहंदी होश पी कैसी जो मैं खाने च आंदा सी। ओदे दर ते उत्ते वेखे पंडित पाई कई मुला पींदे। ओदे दर ते उत्ते वेखे पंडित पाई कई मुला पींदे। ओ हर प्याली चू भर के नाम दी मस्ती मिलांदा सी। मेरा सावन सी दिल दा बादशाह ਰੱਜ ਕੇ ਪਿਲਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਨਾ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੋਸ਼ ਪੀ ਕੈਸੀ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਖਾਨੇ ਚ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਕੀ ਦੇ ਲੱਖਾਂ ਹੀ ਨਵੇਂ ਦਸਤੂਰ ਕੀ ਦਸਾਂ। ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਕੀ ਦੇ ਲੱਖਾਂ ਹੀ ਨਵੇਂ ਦਸਤੂਰ ਕੀ ਦਸਾਂ। ਅੱਖੀਆਂ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਵਾ ਕੇ ਨਵੀਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਵਿਖਾਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਉਹ ਅੱਖੀਆਂ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਵਾ ਕੇ ਨਵੀਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਵਿਖਾਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਕੀ ਸੀ ਦਿਲ ਦਾ ਬਾਦਸ਼ਾਹ ਰੱਜ ਕੇ ਪਿਲਾਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਨ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੋਸ਼ ਪੀ ਕੈਸੀ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਖਾਨੇ ਚ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਕੀ ਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਖਾਨੇ ਚ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਕੀ ਇੱਕ ਮਹਿਰਮ ਸੀ। ਉਹ ਸਾਕੀ ਮੈਂ ਪਿਲਾਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਮਹਿਰਮ ਗੀਤ ਗਾਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਉਹ ਸਾਕੀ ਮੈਂ ਪਿਲਾਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਮਹਿਰਮ ਗੀਤ ਗਾਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਕੀ ਸੀ ਦਿਲ ਦਾ ਬਾਦਸ਼ਾਹ ਰੱਜ ਕੇ ਪਿਲਾਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਨ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੋਸ਼ ਪੀ ਕੈਸੀ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਖਾਨੇ ਚ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਗੁਨਾਹਗਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭੁੱਲ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀ। ਉਹ ਰੱਬ ਦਾ ਨੂਰ ਸੀ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਰੂਹਾਂ ਸੁੱਤੀਆਂ ਜਗਾਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਉਹ ਰੱਬ ਦਾ ਨੂਰ ਸੀ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਰੂਹਾਂ ਸੁੱਤੀਆਂ ਜਗਾਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ।
It is really a great blessing to meet, I will say, master man or God is man or man who is the mouthpiece of God. God resides in every heart. He is the controlling power, controlling all creation and also controlling our souls in the body. We cannot run out of the body, you see. Even though we have got neither purchase in the body, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, etc. So those who have become in tune, you might say, are the mouthpiece of God, you see. God speaks through them. Though the words appear to be coming through the gullets of a son of man, but he is quite conscious, he sees that it is he who is speaking what is being inspired, you see, by that higher power. He is not speaking at the level of the intellect, but what it comes of itself it goes on saying, you see. So you find those thoughts which come of itself, they are always perfect. To have such a living master, yes?
That's all right. Now it's all right.
To meet with such a master, you see, at whose pole God is speaking, the very God is within us too, you see. His soul has arisen from the bondage of mind and matter. He sees the controlling power within himself. Generally we find all people who say they have met God, you see, they simply say at the level of feelings. Feelings are our own make. Sometimes out of feelings man arises into emotions, and sometimes we come to some conclusion as a matter of inference. So truly speaking, we have not seen him. Of course, we are just taking at the level of our own self. So all these 3, feelings, emotions and inferences, they are all subject to error. Seeing is above all. So the man pole at which our soul works, soul is the spirit of God, spirit in man, environed by mind and matter. Those who have risen above it by self-analysis and become conscious co-workers, that is he who is controlling us all. But to meet such a personality, you might say, the Son of Man, is a great blessing. He appears to be a man like all others. He has got the same 2 eyes, 2 hands, outer concession. But our souls are embedded under mind, outgoing faculties. We are identified with them so much so that we have forgotten ourselves. Unless we rise above these, you may senses, rise above senses or rise above body consciousness, just unless we are reborn into the beyond, we cannot become conscious co-worker of the divine plan. Such like people, whenever they come to the world, they are conscious. They never say, I am telling this and that. They say, this is the Father in me who is working. The same power is within us, because our souls, as I told you, under the control of mind, mind is under the control of outgoing faculties. We are identified so much so that we have forgotten ourselves. So whenever such masters come, you see what is their job. He is man among men, you see, son of man, but he is something more. He is in tune with God, and in his company he just raises other souls which are tied down to the mind, outgoing faculties or senses, raised above them, open the inner eye to see God, you see. God in action, in expression, you might say, what is called word. So sometimes such like souls, the called word was made flesh and dwelt amongst us. So meet such a master while living on earth is a great blessing, because he is competent to raise our souls above the senses with little thought of his, what we cannot attain in years of penance. So seeing is above all. And truly speaking, theists are those who have seen God. So Son knows the Father and others whom the Son reveals. They are true theists. All others, truly speaking, they are not yet become theists. They have their own feelings, emotions and draw inferences to come to some conclusion, but they have not yet seen. We believe in God just as we have read in scriptures. Scriptures speak of the experiences that the masters had in their lives, in their contact with God. So that's a fine record of all these things. By reading them, that give us an interest, you see, create an interest in us to have the same experience with our own selves. So scriptures are there to create an interest within us. Unless we can have the same experience of our own selves, we cannot be truly convinced. So whenever the masters come, they say, don't believe what the scriptures say, or anyone says. You can take them as an experimental measure, but unless you see for your own self the same experience that they had, at least to some extent, you cannot be fully convinced. To meet such a grand, any word you might use, you see, such a Son of Man, at whose power God is working, speaking, in tune with that. And he has the competency to raise others too to that level, to have some glimpse of God. So such a meeting with such a master is really a great blessing. First of all, to have the man body, it is also a great blessing, because it is the highest in all creation. And the highest aim of a man's life is to know God. And to know God, we must know our own self first, because it is the soul that has to know God. He cannot be known by the outward faculties, mind or intellect. One student came up to Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he is well known saying the master of Swami Vivekananda. He had a book under his arms. He asked him what it is. He said, well, master, it is a book which gives how water is made. Smilingly he said, always squeeze these leaves of the book and see how many drops of water can come out of that. It is only to show the scriptures give a fine record, they are worth in tons of gold and emeralds, because they contain the experiences what the masters had in their life with God, that create an interest within us. And that's their scope, that's it, and but they cannot take us to the experience. That experience you can have within your own divinity of man body. Unless you enter the laboratory of a man body, you cannot have an experience with him. That is why all masters who came in the past, the scriptures which are fine records of their experiences, they all say, body is the temple of God. By reading scriptures, you have an interest created in you to see God. And there it ends. And if you come across with somebody who has that experience, well, everybody, many of them will come to you and say, yes, I have seen God. That's all right. Due deference. But true definition of it, true saint, is that he is competent also to give some others some experience of God within. And that experience is had only when you rise above body consciousness. So all the methods that we have adopted to know God, reading of scriptures, first of course, they have their value. Just performing certain rites or rituals, custom, that is according to the custom of each country. That, of course, their work, you prepare the ground for that. They are good actions. But still, all books, all scriptures say, all masters say that God is within you. Kingdom of God cannot be had by observation. Why? Because it is within you. Unless you enter within, where you find contact, controlling within you, your soul with the body, you cannot find him, you see. That very power is also controlling the whole creation. So it's for that purpose we have to know our own self. All masters who came, that is why they said, know thyself, Christ, old Greeks, Guru Nanak and all others. So knowing self is just liberating our soul from mind, outgoing faculties, or say senses, to rise above senses, stilling our intellect too. Then a sort of transport arises in which you can have a glimpse of God. That's a matter of pure self-analysis. So the hymn that she was just reading out to you, that is the praise of the Master, you see. He says he is the king of our hearts. He was intoxicated, you see, with God, and whoever met him, he gave a little dose of intoxication to him too. Not to the senses, but to the soul, you see. So such like was the Master moving on earth, like a man, son of man. There is a difference between a son of man and a God and man are a Master, you see. So those who are son of, they are conscious all the same. There's some other power working through us. Some people ask Christ, you always speak of the Father. It would have been much better if you could have let us see your Father. And they said, he grew a little indignant over it and said, well, I'm sorry, I've been so long with you, amongst you, you did not find that it was the Father working through me. He was conscious of the God power working through him. So, the criterion of such a Master is, he does not only see himself, but he enables others to see. As I told you, Son knows the Father, and others whom the Son reveals. It is a sort of revelation which already exists within you because of your being given up to all outward senses, you see. So much so you identified with them that you have forgotten your old self, who you are, what you are. First thing is just to retrace our steps, you see. Just coming within, withdrawing within, and then rising above body consciousness. This is a matter of pure self-analysis, you see. This is what is called in scriptures, learn to die so that you may begin to live. At the time of death, soul leaves the body lower portion comes at the back of the eyes, and then you leave the body. Your levitation is heart or levitation. That very experience if you have in daily life, you can have contact with God in expression power, not God absolute mind, that. So who has become the mouthpiece of that power. So such like Son of Man is called Master. With him, when you meet him, he is competent to raise you up, the physical and the astral, open the inner eye to see what? Light of God. God is light. So, he was just singing the hymn that our Master was a great one, you see. Whoever went to him, he was himself God intoxicated, and let others also have a dose of intoxication, you see. And the greatest feat he did was, he made people sit and asked them to close their eyes and just gave them an experience of rising above body consciousness to see light. And that is the greatest feat of him, you see. Any master lectures can be given by anybody after little training. Of course, with due deference to all, that is something, speaking of something and seeing something, there is a vast difference between the two. One who sees, he can enable others to see. Though they were talking at the intellectual levels, they will give so many findings of the saints they have got, interpret them at the level of their intellect. So they are not definite, you see. They say at their heart of heart, they see, they do not see. How can they make others see, have the same experience? So, requirement is, that is why all masters said, beware of the false prophets who come like lambs, you see, but they are ravening wolves. This is they had to say, because there's true masters are few. They have been, there are, one is not without them, but rare to come across such a Son of Man or personality who's got that experience and is competent to give experience to others. To meet such a great soul, you might say, spirit in man or God in man, is a great blessing of our own self. Can we see him? Yes, of course, if we can rise above senses. So what all we do, all our reading, writing, performing certain rites or rituals, saying prayers in one way or the other, they are all at the level of senses. Unless you rise above senses, you are already identified with the senses that you have forgotten yourself, and all methods that you use for that purpose, those are also concerning you at the level of the senses too. How can you rise above senses? That's the grace of God alone, and a reaction of the past. Some people do have sometimes some experience, but that's a regular science, I would say, what the masters teach and give. They do not simply give them some lecture or talk on a certain subject, but they do give them some experience to start with. Take the example of a man who is very much well versed in the principles of business. He comes and gives a talk to the people around him. Very wonderful talk, quite appreciable, but the poor fellows to whom he is giving a talk, they have no money with them. What will your lecture do? If he gives them some capital to start with, only then some good will come out of that. So this is what it is. Lecturing is something else. Reading of scriptures, performance of rites or rituals, these are the elementary steps which are meant for the preparation of the ground We do Darshans are good actions, but still we have to take a step further to rise above the level of senses. That is why all masters refer to it. Learn to die so that you may begin to live. Except you be reborn, you cannot enter the kingdom. That is within you. That's not, there are so many mansions in the house of our Father. There are planes and planes of different densities. You rise above them until you reach the true home of your Father. And this much can be done only in man body, which is considered to be the highest in all creation, and that fortunately you have got. Now we have to see, for that purpose we have joined various schools of our thought called religions, social bodies. Only for that purpose in you have we had that aim achieved. Very good. If not, so that's a golden opportunity we have got of a man body in which can we know him and no other body. Masters have come in all religions. They gave out the same teachings, of course, in their own language, prevalent at the time when they came. Now, those sayings or experiences form the subject of our scriptures. Now to understand them, to have the right import of them, we need somebody who has got the same experience or has gone on the same way. He will only be able to give you right understanding, right import of the scriptures. Others who will just give at the level of their intellect, there are vast differences between one and the other. The man who has seen or who is competent to also let others see by raising up them up from the level of physical and astral body, he is called a master in the true sense of the word, as given out by all masters. So you may be engaged in all these actions, but to have experience of God in life, that's a great blessing, you see. So she was just singing about her master, you see. All masters, you see, say the same thing. They came in all religions. We cannot say it is a reserved right of one religion or the other. God is for all. The schools of thought were just raised after the masters came. So, at the intellectual level, that is why we have got so many versions of the same thing, because they have not seen it. Those who have come to this building, you know, there's like one photo there, there's one thing, there's radio, there are so many things. Well, if you go away to their own different countries, you give a just statement of what you saw in the building, what you had. You give, of course, in your own language, but salient points will agree. Matter of detail, some might be giving more details of a certain thing, the other might omit something. Those people who have not seen this place, they are reading those books. They have drawn down what is all this, this cannot be reconciled, what is what. So if any man who has seen this place and those books are read out to him, oh yes, I have seen it is like that. Because they are seeing. So what the masters say, you see, they have seen. They say what they see, not as a matter of feeling or emotions or inference. We do deference to all. Seeing is above all. So seeing comes to the soul, and the soul is analyzed by self-analysis, or you may say by rising above body consciousness or senses. You cannot have experience of your own self. If you cannot have your own self-knowledge precedes God knowledge. The sayings of Master are very clear on the points. You see, they see and then say. In those under all, I let you have a sitting, you find for your own self, unless we bear testimony our own self, we cannot be truly convinced. So she was just singing of the Master's praises. All Masters who came from time to time, they come to guide the child humanity, to have some time with them. For our own, one Mohammedan saint says, if you do your penances yourself for the sake of God for 100 years, that will not give you so much blessing as when you sit by a master saint, you see. He will give you sitting, your inner eye will open, you see the light of God. So this is the subject, you see, before us. Irrespective whether we belong to one religion or the other, that makes no difference. All religions are going to remain in some religion is a blessing. If you leave it, there will be corruption, or you will have to raise up another school of thought. Well, there are already so many religions existing. They were raised after the Masters came into the world. There were formations. Naturally you find where there are formations result in stagnation, and stagnation sometimes result in deterioration for want of practical persons who know the way. The result is now we are worship of the same God. The same thing has been given by in all scriptures. Pity it is that we are not in the full know of other religions, you see. They have experience of their own religion. That also at the level of the intellect, that is why they are not able to do full justice to the work. So we need somebody even to understand the true import of scriptures, somebody who has been on the way or knows the way. Because he has seen the statements of those masters who saw and gave out their experiences, we form the subject of our scriptures. They only can give you right import. What is the difference? Why are there so many different schools came into being? You know? One rises, he says, this is my view. Some 100 or 200 people follow him, they form a new sect. So that's the cause. Otherwise, those who realize, see God, they say the same thing, and they've said the same thing, and make others also have the same experience. The greatness of a saint or a master lies in the fact that he is competent to give you some experience of that reality. So philosophy deals with theories, and mysticism deals with reality. So those who are themselves quantum with reality, they are competent to give you some experience also to start with. Then we have to develop further. Rome was not built in a day, of course, but you have something straight out. Contact with the reality which leads to the absolute God. You see? So in a digest form, this is our aim of life. We are dwelt physically, we are dwelt intellectually, but the third side, our own self, is very much ignored, you see. We know little or nothing. We know intellectually about the scriptures and other things, that is only a food to the intellect. Your intellect is giant. But that has not been able to satisfy you, you see. Because the third side, you must advance spiritually too. Reading scriptures form part of the intellect, you see. You know certain things, your brain is full of those saying what the Master said, what you have not yet seen. So to be, I would say, you know so many scriptures by heart, you see, that cannot make you a saint. Of course, you something knows intellectually. But unless you have experience of the same thing, you cannot be. neither be convinced yourself, nor you can make others convinced of you. So if you are thinking of the praise of the Master, at whose feet we had the good fortune to sit, he was competent to give all, one and all, learned and the unlearned both, whoever came to him, some experience of thought. That is raising up over the level of physical and just body. To open the inner eye, what is called the single eye. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. So light is there, God is light. It is not intellectual light, it is truly light. So this is what we had at the feet of the Masters, that God's power or Christ's power or the Guru power, what is called, that never dies, everlasting. Whoever come in contact with that power, they also have everlasting life. For this purpose, we have done the various schools of thought, and now we have to see how far we are advanced. I think we are sitting, we had in man body for the last some 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old we are. We have to see whether we have achieved this object. Well and good. If not, we should do something more to have that experience in life. To say that we will have this experience after death, well, where is the proof for that? Excuse me, a bird in hand is better than two in the bush. If you are learned man now, even after leaving the body you remain the same. You see, you do not become a prophet. I am going out of this room, I am the same what I am in the room, you see. So those who have developed, I am advanced spiritually in man body, that's the golden opportunity that we have got, because in this man body only we can know God. We know God in this life, that we can have only when we rise above body consciousness, we learn to die so that we may begin to live. Saint Paul and others say, I die daily. Saint Paul says, I die daily. And Guru Nanak says, die 100 times a day at will. It is not the death that takes you to the grave. You see, it is practical self-analysis rising above body consciousness. It's a regular science that 2 and 2 make 4. And you can have it in this man's life if by God's grace you come across somebody where God's power is working, you see. So have a great blessing. If you are singing only that, you see, that our masters was a great, was the truly king of our hearts. He had that God intoxication, and he was competent to give others also intoxication by simply giving them a sitting. Close your eyes, little thought impulses, raise them up, and they, both testimony that there is light of God. So this is the ultimate goal of a man's life, for which we have done the various religions. All religions are good, they have truth in them. Masters were the truth personified. Whenever they came, they gave the same experience, the same life about they were themselves about it, they were personified themselves. That is why it was said, already said in all languages, of course, by Master, word was made flesh and dwelt among us. Unless his word personified, how can he give us the contact with the word? Intellectual man can give you only experience up to the intellectual level, not more. Those who see it, they can give you an experience to see. You build testimony to it. So you'll find it is a great blessing to have man body. It is still further great blessing if you meet some Son of Man at whose phone that God is working. So I have it the same. All others who sat at the feet of our Master, they had it. In these days, Only not without them. After all, God is the same forever. We are all His children of God, those who are hankering after Him. There's food for the hungry, water for the thirsty. Demand and supply is the law of nature. When fire burns, oxygen comes to help. Those who are really hankering after God. It is God who makes an arrangement to bring him in contact somewhere where he can derive this very benefit of personal. So blessed are you all, you see, I would say, those who chant some religion for that higher purpose, noble purpose. The only thing we have to see how far we have advanced, whether we achieve that very object for which we did chant the various schools of thought. You found that truth, that's all right. That is what it is. That definitely science has 2 and 2 make 4. But it's only possible to have it when you come across somebody who has got that experience and is able to give you that experience. Greatness of master lies on only the fact, not in giving lectures, talks and wonderful theories, but who is able to give you some contact with the God in action power, which is light and sound principle.
I think some of my friends are standing there, so I request them to come on the back, they could see. And of course, I am not satisfied that we children get a little more food from the Master. He has given us little bit here. And if Bibiji could take a short hymn from Kabir or Guru Nanak or Swamiji, then the Master would explain.
कभी शब्द शब्द छोटे नहीं गुरुवानी याद हो जाग
जाग प्यारे अब का सोवे रन गई दिन का को खोवे जिन जागा तिन मांग पाया
somebody
सब सोए गवाया.
So people ask, you see, if we wake up, what do we get? We are business-like, you see. You tell us to wake up, all right, if we do wake up, what will we get? Now we have got possessions, we have got so many other things at our disposal. We are asleep, all right, we have got so many things. Even if we wake up, then what will you find? The Master says you'll find a pearl of great price. Who can find that pearl of great price? Who awakes? Now our soul, as I told you before, is asleep under the bondage of mind, outgoing faculties, etc. We are identified with itself. As I told you, our souls are in the body. That is why the body works, so long as it is there. When soul leaves the body, then body is put under grave or cremated. But one thing, you see, we are in the body until something is controlling us in the body. We cannot run out of the body in spite of our so many holes we have got in the body. Breathing goes out, that cannot remain, or something controls it back into the body. Surgeons perform, you see, operations of the stomach which lasts for hours, and then we cannot run out of the body. So he says, if you now awake, you will find that controlling power is already within you. We have been trying to find him in outward ways. We don't look into within our own self where is the controlling power within us. So Kabir says, they whom you want to meet, he resides elsewhere, and you try to find him elsewhere, still elsewhere. How can you find him? He is the soul of your soul, the very controlling power, which is controlling your soul in the body. He is within you because it is the controlling power of the soul within the body. Unless you rise above that level, come within, body is the temple of God. And even then, when you rise above senses, you see, you find him, he is already there. You have not to create it, not to visualize it. It is already, by virtue of not rising above body controlling power. He says if you do wake up, you will get a pearl of great price, which you can only have it by entering the laboratory of man body. We have wasted away our time for the most golden opportunity that we had, man body. We could have awake and seen him. But the senses plane, you see, life of senses, we have just not been able to derive the benefit of man body. The wise man is he who follows the footsteps of his father. You see, our soul is of the same essence as that of God, child of God, you may say, top of the ocean of our life. So in man body we could have known him. If we would have been wise, we would have tried to see him. Only then we were truly speaking to be wise, otherwise we are stark fools. Say, why don't you wake up? This is a high time for you. You got the man body. And what is this waking up, you see? This is something rising above body consciousness, our senses. To know yourself first, then you will be able to know God. Self-knowledge precedes God-knowledge. It is not a matter of inference, as I told you. It is a matter of seeing. Yes.
जाग देख पिया सजना तेरे तोहे छाड़ उठ गए सवेरे.
Can you wake up and see where is your Lord? You see, the soul of your souls. But you have passed all your life so far while sleeping. Wake up, where is your Lord? You see. This is the high time, the golden time that you have got to know Him, to see Him, but you are passing your days quite in deep slumber. You see. This is something to be born anew, you see. To rise above body consciousness. God to whom we have a conscious contact is already within you. He is everywhere, but direct, closest contact is within you. Unless you rise up to that level, you cannot see. Except you be born in you cannot enter the kingdom of God. This is what Christ says. And all other masters said in their own language, of course. Well, it is not wise on your part to go on sleeping forever. man body every day, every hour, every day is bringing you closer to the end of life, which is called death. It is for you to awake and see him before that last end comes, you see. Because in this man body only you can see.
Tambari bara paina bhar jobana piya apna nachina.
Yeah, that's it to the soul. Look here, you had the very young life. At that time you would not differentiate what is wrong and what is right. Now you are quite young, I mean quite of age. You can differentiate what is right from wrong. And it is a high time when all your faculties are in order while young. You see, when you are of age, when your hairs are black, you can see him quicker because you can sit at your will, you can direct your will somewhere, whichever way you like, you got something under control, you could do something. But alas, it says, you have not found him. All your days have passed in vain glory of outside and given up to the pleasures of the senses only. This is what masters always come to see. They do not say, but don't live the body, life of a man and a householder or anything. He said, develop, you see. You've got three aspects of your life. One is physical, maintain it. Physical body is the highest gift of God to us, because it is the man body in which we can awake and see him, you see. So maintain it. They don't say they leave it and go to some recluse, you see. He said maintain it as best as you can. But see what are you to do, for what purpose. You are bound not only have the pleasures of outside only. There's, you see, all glory and beauty lies within you. Just in what? Just regain your Godhead, you see. And it is the high time if in this life, when your senses are in order, you can do something, exert. If you do not see it, where's the hope when you become old? Your senses won't work. Your body will be dependent on somebody else. Why not now? So third Guru of the Sikhs says, though they have not known God when they are quite of age, not old, well, there is little hope for them to know him in the old age. Little hope. Why? Because at the time you become dependent on others. Now you are independent. At the time, who knows whether you would like to be able to see your hair or your body is quite fit. So there is little hope, of course. There is hope, but little hope. Now is the time, high time to know God when you are in your, quite able, physically fit, intellectually fit. You can stand on your own legs. You can direct your way one day or the other. When you grow old and become dependent on others, well, how will you be able to say that? Who knows whether you will bodily fit or not? Many times you find, well, man becomes quite invalid. He cannot do his own personal outer requirements. He cannot attend to that. So that is why you have been only bewildered in the life of senses, given up to sensual life, ignoring what was the real aim of life. Well, you must be wise now, because you are the child of all wisdom, you see. After all, we have to leave the body. But that is no bugbear, but we have to leave. No exception to it. But you see, when the end comes, I remember of a case at Delhi. He was a pilot of the airplane. He ran up during the day at about 2, came to the ashram. I told him, why you are so in a hurry? He said, well, I have been given notice of 6 hours to leave for the front. Give me something. You see? He was afraid of, if I go to the front to die in 6 hours notice, I have to go. Well, excuse me, if you are given some notice, you have to leave tomorrow morning. What will you do today? I think your thoughts should turn what will happen after that. So, we should have foresight. You see, after all, we have to leave the body, maybe in a day or a month or a year or 10 years. There is no exception to the rule. After all, we have to leave the body. Where to go? We are afraid of death, you know. Why? For 2 reasons. One, we do not know how to leave the body. And the other, we do not know where to go. After that, what will happen? Those who are going away, they think, what will think of this position, who will take over? They are thinking that way. There is nothing known of the beyond. And those who are leaving, they say, where? To whom care you are leaving us? So this is one thing, they do not know how to leave the body at the time of death. In very few cases leave it. Generally, man suffers very badly, you see. Cannot leave the body. So, other thing, where to go? I came to America in 1955. Now coming, I was confident. I have been to America. I know such and such man. You see? You should learn to live. That is why I say, learn to die so that you may begin to live. If you know how to leave the body, well, all sting of death is gone. Last enemy that we conquer is death. And how? By learning how to leave the body at will. 100 times a day, Guru Nanak said. Saint Paul said, I die daily. So see, you have wasted time while asleep. In the very golden opportunity you had of the man body, you must learn how to leave the body. For these 2 reasons we are afraid of death. Death is a player, I would say. All glory and beauty lies within you. Who have an excess of that life, they want to leave the body. The sooner the better. But we are afraid of. So that is why Kabir is telling us, look your own soul body. You have to leave the body. You are wiser. You have to leave someday. You should have arisen and found the God within you. That you could have done even if you have, only if you have risen above senses while in man body. But you are bewildered, you see, by the sensuous life all along, never thinking of your own self, but the end must come, no exception to the rule. Really wise man is he. In the worldly affairs you find whatever work we have to do, say after a year or so, we start doing it from today. Every time, the fixed time draws nearer, we put in more efforts to have that thing ready. Or even still you cannot do alone, you engage other people to help you. That to be ready by that time. Well, we have to leave the body, time is fixed of course, we do not know. So if you are given notice you have to go, then what to do? So the Master says, pass your each day as your last day of your earthly life. What will you do on the last day of your earthly life? Magic. So this is how the Masters, you see, bring home the necessity of solving the mystery of life. You have to leave the body someday. And I told you, death of leaving the body is no bugbear, but we have to. A wise man is he who just learns how to live, you see.
यते चतर तू रखनारी कबहु न पिया की सज सुआरी.
They said that God, who is your true Father or true beloved, you say, he is all wise. You should have been also wise enough, you say.
ले गुरु से नाम अटल बाबा जब कर लो पूर्ण गुरु भगति, तब होती जन्म सफल बाबा। जब घट में जारी शब्द हुआ, सब खिल विख जाए कल बाबा। तब तुझ में हर में भेद नहीं, ज्यों जल ही समावे जल बाबा। जो तुमको मिलना मालिक से, सतगुरु की शरण में चल बाबा। था खाक का पुतला पहले ही, फिर उस पे खाक रमा बैठा। ना मन की आग बुझाई तू, एक बार आग लगा बैठा। नींद में पहले ही सोया था, जब जागा नशा चढ़ा बैठा। तब खबर पड़ेगी सतगुर की, जब काल सराहने आ बैठा। सब निकल जाएगी आकड़ तेरी, सब निकल जाएंगे वल बाबा। जो तुमको मिलना प्रीतम से, सतगुर की शरण में चल बाबा। क्या जाने कितने जन्मों से तू इसी जेल में बंद रहा। दुनिया के फीके स्वादों में तू मगन रहा, आनंद रहा। जिस भांति अंधा आया था, उस भांति अंध का अंध रहा। जिस नेत्र से सतगुर तकना था, वो नेत्र तो तेरा बंद रहा। मन मुक्ता छोड़ तू गुरमुख बन, अब अपनी चाल बदल बाबा। जो मिलना तुझको मालिक से, सतगुर की शरण में चल बाबा। दुनिया में नाम करा पैदा, खुद जपा कभी सत नाम नहीं। संसार में मारे कई शत्रु, पर मारे खुदी और काम नहीं। घर पंच चोर नहीं मारोगे, मिल सकता कुछ आराम नहीं। आराम ना हो जब तक हासिल, ये जीवन किसी भी काम नहीं। इस मैं मेरी इस तू में, तेरी उम्र गई सब ढल बाबा। जो तुझको मिलना प्रीतम से, सतगुर की शरण में चल बाबा। कर सूरत पैदा बचने की, क्यों उलझा गोरख धंधे में। विष्ठा के कीड़े की भांति तू फिर जाता गंदे में। क्यों उलझता है, क्यों फंसता है, क्यों मरता है इस फंदे में। तू खुद दुनिया से ये कह दे, क्या फर्क है तुझ में अंधे में। इस मोह माया की दलदल से जल्दी निकल बाबा। जो तुझको मिलना प्रीतम से, सतगुर की शरण में चल बाबा। गर जन्म मरण से बचना है, ले गुरु से नाम अटल बाबा। ये देश के जिसमें रहता है, कई तरह के दुख सुख सहता है। जिसे मेरा मेरा कहता है, नहीं उस पे तेरा दखल बाबा। ये सपना है जो आया है, ये तो छाया की भी छाया है। तू जिस लोक से आया है, वो है सचखंड अचल।
को नहीं मिला है, वो भी अगर समझ कर बैठेंगे तो उनको भी बरकत मिल जाएगी। गौर से समझिए, किसी ऐसे आसन पर बैठ जाओ जिस पर आप ज्यादा देर आराम से बैठ सकते हो। पहली बात, अकड़ कर नहीं बैठो, नरम बैठो और सीधे बैठो। जब बैठ जाओ तो हलो जुलो नहीं, न हाथ हिलाओ, न पैर, न सिर, न मुंह, न आंख, अडोल होके बैठ जाओ। पहली बात, आंखें बंद कर लो, बाहर ध्यान छोड़ दो, थोड़ी देर के लिए दुनिया को भूल जाओ। ये भी भूल जाओ कहाँ बैठे हो, पास कौन बैठा है उसका भी ख्याल छोड़ दो। तो करो क्या, बाहर का ध्यान छोड़ दो, आंखों से नीचे शरीर में क्या होता है उस तरफ ध्यान नहीं दो। समझो बंधुआ, ऐसा तो सांस चल रहा है नहीं मालूम होता, बैठे हुए भी मालूम ना हो। रूह का सिमट कर आंखों के पीछे आना है जहां मर कर रूह जाती है। तो चढ़ने का ख्याल भी छोड़ दो, ये गुरु पावर पर छोड़ दो। न बाहर का ध्यान करो, ना आंखों से नीचे का ध्यान करो, ना ही चढ़ने का ख्याल करो।